Now, he wasn't the only pitcher to reach a major milestone this week because we saw Shohei Ohtani once again pass Babe Ruth, one of the greatest of all time. He is now has the most strikeouts among a player to hit at least 100 home runs, passing Babe Ruth, which is incredible when you really think about that.
You know, I really feel like the only comparison we've had for Shohei for some time now has been Babe Ruth, and Babe Ruth almost just feels like this like fictional. How did this sort of player exist?
Yeah.
714 homers, was a pitcher, struck out over 500 batters. Like, how is this possible? And now the one comparison to him is Shohei, and now we're seeing Shohei pass him in certain categories. And we talked about it earlier this week, how in his next start, Shohei was going to pass Babe Ruth on the all-time strikeout list for, as you just mentioned, for players that have hit over 100 home runs. He now holds the most pitcher strikeouts. And, you know, it's just, it truly is, it's remarkable. And even when this segment, right, that we have this week in Shohei Ohtani news started 2 years ago, and the comparison I kept making was Babe Ruth. But even then, it felt like really though, like how
we talked about it Tuesday. It's like two completely different athletes. You can't yes, you can compare the stats because that's the only thing we have to compare it to. There's the only player that was doing anything remotely close to what Ohtani's doing. But athletes today are not the same as athletes back in the day. I mean, they had full-time jobs. That's why they had spring training to get guys into shape, to get ready to play a baseball season. These guys are professional athletes year-round since they were kids training for this moment. Like, it is a completely different beast.
It's interesting. Back when, the comparisons first started with Shohei, I was sort of along those lines of, well, athletes today are different. Like, Shohei, if he faced Babe Ruth, would dominate him. Like, they're completely different. But the more that Shohei keeps going in this direction, the more I find myself believing that the comparisons are getting closer and closer to being true, not the opposite direction. In terms of, the two-way thing is hit you right in the face. But also, Babe Ruth feels like a fictional, a made-up baseball player. If you ask anybody on planet Earth to name a baseball player ever, even non-baseball fans will be able to say, well, Babe Ruth, right? And I feel like Shohei is becoming more and more like a fictional baseball player. Like, how does this exist, what he's doing? He threw 7 innings against the Astros of 3-run ball, passing Babe Ruth. His ERA now stands at 2.74 on the year. His whip is under 1, 0.91. He's 4-1 on the year. And after those 7 innings, the very next day went out and golfed a home run out to right field, a pitch that was actually a nasty curveball that almost bounced in the dirt. I don't even know how he hits that pitch out. So this is the modern day version of Babe Ruth. That's what we are seeing right in front of our eyes. So did we get to see Babe Ruth play? No, but we're getting to see modern day Babe Ruth play, and we should watch him every chance we get. So yes, past Babe Ruth in career strikeouts, and as I mentioned on, I believe it was Tuesday, is also close to catching him in the home run category. Was only 580 away. Well, guess what? That number is now 579 homers away. Watch out, Babe. Shohei is coming. Another homer on Wednesday afternoon.
So question for you, because hopefully we are just in the beginning stages of watching Shohei Ohtani in his prime. I like to believe that. So if you had to guess at the end of his career, what would you guess his career strikeouts will be and his all-time career home runs will be? Yeah, putting you on the spot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Think about it. I mean, you have your brother, who's like one of the all-time great pitchers. You can kind of compare him to that, and then the all-time great home run list.
So the tricky
what are you
part,
going to
do? This is the unknown. Obviously, hits you right in the face of
how long.
At some point in his career, you have to believe he's going to have to pick one or the other.
Or he doesn't.
He's not going to be 40 years old and throwing 7 innings, and then the next day being the 3-hole hitter.
He might.
He might, and I hope that's to be true. But I'll. Okay, so let's just say for a second.
Hypothetical. Throw it out there.
Let's say that's true.
Okay.
Okay, so he's at 500 strikeouts right now. I think
How
we
many
could
more
be talking
years?
about a world in which Shohei reaches the 2,000 strikeout mark. And what's he at? He's at, how many homers is he at?
He has 134.
134. I think he can get to
Yeah.
2,000 and home run wise, I'll say 400.
Oh.
350.
Oh.
I
was thinking more to like the 5.
Well, you got him. He didn't come over. He doesn't have the longevity in a major league career because he came over
he was older
already at a certain age because of the MPB. So,
Yeah.
he didn't come over until he was, 25?
Okay.
So
450?
that's 5 years of guys that, yeah. So I'll stick with 400.
I'll go 450. I'll raise you 450.
400 and 2,000, which just
Okay.
that's insane. That's insane.
It's incredible.
But man, that'd be cool.